Welcome back to How Did They Play, episode 8, and we're looking who makes it into the LQQ this episode. Adam, you're going to go first, so who have you got to enter potentially the LQQ?
The team I was drawn was Wigan, and the player I have gone for is Jimmy Bullard.
Oh, what a player.
Bulldog. The Bulldog.
The Bulldog himself. I just want to put it out there straight away before we get to your two pick. I don't care who you have, Jimmy Bullard should be in the LQQ because he is an absolute legend.
He's a
Just
legend.
just for that alone, he should be in. Anyway, obviously we all know who Jimmy Bullard is, but I want to really get into his Premier League time and stats and just remind people what kind of a midfielder he was, basically. So Jimmy Bullard played for Wigan in the Premier League, he played for Fulham, and he played for Hull City. And he was known for his charisma. He was known for his set pieces. He was known for being energetic and being like a really good box-to-box midfielder. Now, obviously, before I go on to his goals and his appearances and stuff like that, I know that you two know Jimmy Bullard as well as I do in terms of the player that he was. Can you two just name me one each a memorable moment just to give the listeners an idea of what Jimmy Bullard was about?
For me, it's the one at Wigan where there's the melee on the goal line, and I think they're all scrapping, trying to get the ball in the net, and there's a crowd of players there that are all on top of each other, and he just comes flying in from absolutely nowhere, dives over the top and goes into a roly-poly. I mean, if he'd done that at the Olympics, he's probably getting gold. It was phenomenal. But to have the balls to do that in a professional football game, to just think, oh, they're all scrapping on the floor there, I'm just going to run over, dive over the top, and then go into a roly-poly. Madness. Absolute madness.
I think for me, I just remember the Sky Sports walkout when he literally turns around and he's literally there with his whole City shirt and he's literally got his shorts up to near enough his nipples. Honestly, that is absolutely hilarious. That's one of his best moments. So that's an off-field thing, but that's the best moment.
I think for me, my favourite Jimmy Bullard moment is when he was playing for Hull City. He's just scored against Man City at the Etihad, and he does that iconic celebration of when his manager Phil Brown at the time, a couple of weeks prior, he did his halftime tea talk basically out on the pitch.
Yeah,
A couple of weeks later,
that's crazy.
Jimmy Bullard scores against Man City, and he does that halftime team talk, but he's pretending to be Phil Brown just on the Etihad, and he gets all of the boys involved in it. And I just think it's like one of the most iconic football celebrations
mugging off
ever.
Your own manager.
Yeah, it's absolutely top quality.
That's something that Igor Tudor would do now.
Yeah,
If by the time we release this, he's still in the job, that's something that he'd do.
100%. 100%. Now, I just want to quickly touch on his stats and appearances and stuff like that in terms of his Premier League time. So when he signed for Wigan from Peterborough United, it actually was, but I'll come back more onto that afterwards. He played 35 times in the 2005-06 season for Wigan, scoring 4 goals. He was only at Wigan for a year when he made his move to Fulham, but unfortunately, pretty much as soon as he moved to Fulham, he had a seriously bad knee injury and it ended his entire season. So in the 2006-07 season, he only made 4 appearances for Fulham, scoring 2 goals, which I still think is quite good in only 4 games. But obviously, this is where Jimmy Bullard's time in the Premier League really depleted in terms of appearances, because he was just absolutely ridiculed with injuries. So the season after, he played 17 times for Fulham, only scoring 2 goals. He played 18 times the year after that. Then in the 2008-09 season, that's when he moved to Hull. Only played 1 time for Hull in that season before, again, got immediately injured. And then in his last season in the Premier League, which was the 2009-10 season, he only made 14 appearances for Hull. So
It's mental when you say that, because all I remember is, yes, I remember him playing for Wigan and being an icon legend for Wigan, but I also remember him playing for Fulham and Hull, and I thought he made more appearances for those 2 clubs. Not more than Wigan, but I thought he played more than them, and that's crazy to me that he didn't play that many times.
I just think as well, I think not the problem with Jimmy Bullard, but the good thing about Jimmy Bullard is he's got so many, like, memorable moments and iconic moments that you think he spent more time in the Premier League and you think that he played more games.
What was that incident with Big Dunk when he was at Wigan?
Oh, yeah. So I'm not sure if people have seen the clip on TikTok or anything like that, but there's the clip of Jimmy Bullard. He's doing a podcast with someone, I can't remember off the top of my head. Whereas when he's playing for Wigan, they're playing, Everton, I think. I think pretty certain Big Dunk was still playing for Everton at the time, and he is like, apparently Big Dunk is, like, full of rage and stuff like that. Like, he's literally just punched someone in the box after a set piece or anything like that. And Jimmy Bullard, you can just see that you can find the clip, I promise you can. You can see the clip and he just looks up at him as to say, "What on earth have I just seen there?" And afterwards, Jimmy, being Jimmy Bullard, he goes, "Yeah, see you in the tunnel, Dunk." And this bloke, Big Dunk, if people don't know about him, he was known for being like a football
Yeah, he
hard man.
was.
Like,
He
you wouldn't
was.
start on him for you just wouldn't. And apparently all of the Everton players were looking around at Jimmy Bullard saying, "You shouldn't have said that." And he's like, "Why? Why? Why?" Turns out of the corner of his eye, you can see Big Dunk in the tunnel 'cause he's just got sent off after punching this player. You can tell the sort of player that he was, Big Dunk. He's just been sent off. So he's in the tunnel. The game's still going. He's got his top off, and he's just waiting for Jimmy Bullard at the end of the game.
Oh my!
And you go, "What on?" And so,
See you in the
like,
tunnel.
also in the clip as well, I can't remember who won the game, whether it was Wigan or whether it was Everton. Apparently, Jimmy Bullard was saying he did, like, 3 laps of honour around the DW stadium just to make sure that he could find out whether Big Dunk actually left the tunnel or not, because he was like, "I am not going in there while
He's
he's
just
in
such
there."
a
But
character, isn't he? Such a character.
yeah.
I mean, he's appeared in some TV shows, hasn't he, Con? What's he appeared in?
Oh, well, I mean, he was on Play to the Whistle, which was like ITV's answer to A Question of Sport, but not as factual. And it had Bradley Walsh, Frank Lampard, and Holly Willoughby on it. So he was on that for a bit. Obviously, he's
Yeah.
done I'm a Celebrity,
Did he win
Soccer
that?
AM. I don't think he won it. Oh, he was actually the first one to be eliminated.
Was he?
Yeah, so two withdrew before him. One was Gemma Collins, who barely stepped foot off the helicopter.
GC.
And then the other one was Craig Charles, an actor from Coronation Street and Red Dwarf, who had to withdraw.
Yeah.
So Bullard was the first one voted out.
I remember him being funny on that though. Or there's got one
He's
clip.
hilarious.
And then he was, and that show he used to do on Soccer AM, because he eventually became the host of that. But that show he used to do, what was that called, Con?
You know the drill.
Oh, you know the drill. When all the different players who were actually pros turn up and try and do a drill with Jimmy Bullard, and he's just taking the mick and he's competing against these players. And I remember him sticking some of the ones in the top bins. Oh, mate. What a guy. What a guy.
He had his
Banter.
He had his little catchphrase at the end as well, didn't he? And he was like, he'd say to them, "Who's the winner?" And then they'd go, "Yeah, we're the winner." He went, "No, football's the winner."
He just loved the game, didn't he? He just loved the game and just
yeah,
played it for the love of
massively.
it. The love of it.
I think that moves on perfectly, to be fair, with the next thing I wanna say about Jimmy Bullard in terms of he was such a likable, charismatic character in football that you don't get anymore. You think about the footballers of the modern era, you think they're very robotic, they're very PR trained, whereas Jimmy Bullard was the last almost character in football. Like, he almost not like didn't care. Obviously, he loved the game to absolute bits, but he just wanted to be himself. And I think a lot of players these days actually miss that. They're like, you don't see a lot of personality in the game anymore. And I think that he like, when you think of personality and you think of footballers, I think it should be anyway. One of your first thoughts is Jimmy Bullard.
Okay, so Jimmy Bullard is potentially an entrant into the LQQ. I'm going to go next. So I got spun in the wheel for me, Cardiff City. So a lot of eras to choose from. And I remember sitting with your Con and saying, well, all I go to is Neil Warnock. But I've actually gone for a player that didn't take part in Neil Warnock's side. I've gone for a player that took part in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side. So actually, when they were having the red badge with the red kit,
Oh, controversial. Very controversial.
very controversial. Why the hell that even happened, I'm not even sure. But they were, full blue, and then they decided to go red, I think because of the Welsh Dragon, I presume. But yeah, so I've gone for a player that I'm gonna tell you the name, and honestly, I don't think you're gonna know who he is. He's that obscure. Jimmy Bullard is a recognisable name. This lad, I don't think you're gonna know who he is. This lad is called Mats Møller Dæhli.
Going to
Not
assume.
an absolute clue.
I'm going to assume he's Danish. Maybe Norwegian.
He's actually Norwegian.
He's a friend of Ollie's.
A friend of Ollie's, yeah, and that is exactly what it is. So I'll get into, first of all, I'll tell you about him as a person. He was actually called the Norwegian wonderkid. So born in Oslo, growing up in Lynn, and briefly played for also Stabæk as well. He actually joined Manchester United's academy in 2011. So this Norwegian lad, growing up in Norway, eventually comes over to England and actually joins on his 17th birthday and signs professional terms. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, this is where he comes a part of that. He's a big part of his development because he is seeing that this Norwegian, he is technically very, very good, very technically astute for potentially the Premier League. He represents then Manchester United's under-18s, and he also represents the reserves. But they do mention about him being a bit physically light in his actual physical stature. But they said he was a bit unreal. A lot of the players said he was very, very technically good. So he eventually leaves Man United as a youngster and actually signs with Molde. And Molde at the time are managed by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So he's reunited with him. I presume Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was involved in the youth setup at the time. And he ended up making some 12 league appearances for them. He won the Norwegian Cup. So Ole Solskjaer basically took him from where he was and adopted him and then played him in his sides. Wherever he went, Dæhli followed. So Dæhli actually went then to Cardiff City. And he signed at the age of 18 after Solskjaer became the manager. And there's actually an interview where Solskjaer's revealing the signing of Dæhli, and Manchester United were going to buy him back from Molde. But he decided to sign for Cardiff.
It's an interesting decision to make, isn't it? At that point, Cardiff, would they have just been promoted back into the Premier League at that point? And he's decided to go there over United. I could maybe get it from I'm probably going to play more at Cardiff, but surely in terms of your development at 18, you're thinking, I'll go back in at United.
Potentially. Or is it, I want to get minutes and he wants to play and he knows Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he knows how he works. So he's actually just followed him there. I mean, he's basically bought largely due to manager loyalty at Cardiff. He was a very good technical midfielder. You look at some of his clips from his debut, from some of the times that he played for Cardiff. Yes, physically, very light, very small, but technically, really good. As a number 10 or as a number 8, a lot of his highlights when he was younger seems like he was a winger for Man United's academy, but played centrally for Cardiff and played predominantly either wide left or as a number 10. He ends up then basically leaving because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets sacked. So he ends up leaving and he doesn't follow him this time because he doesn't go anywhere. So he ends up going to Freiburg and he went and made several league appearances there. But he actually then becomes an FC St. Pauli legend. And the St. Pauli fans absolutely love him. So he went on a loan spell there. He then eventually signed permanently, made a lot of appearances, and his best football came after the Premier League, basically, in for Freiburg. And when he's on his Instagram, he's putting on there like, I'm really sad to leave, don't want to leave, but he left Sao Pauli. He then goes to Genk for a season. He then goes to Nuremberg, and then he returns actually where he's playing now and back in Molde. But the reason why I've chosen him is because it's such a technically gifted midfielder. You know, he's playing the same teams as Haaland. He's playing the same Norwegian team as Martin Ødegaard. He's playing the same teams as these guys, but not been the same level. and I think physically he wasn't ready for the Premier League when he arrived.
It looks like he's another one of those classic cases of move too soon, and it
Yeah, massively.
not being right for him. But also, I think moving to a club that were really struggling, and in terms of what you're saying, the sort of player he was, that creative spark, that very technical sort of player, he wouldn't have been getting enough time on the ball at Cardiff to actually make a difference, to actually do anything within that team.
No, I think a lot of these like small technical players, you're either setting the world alight where you're scoring a lot of long range goals, or you contribute in terms of assists. But he didn't contribute in terms of any numbers. And when his manager got sacked, basically the bloke who adopted him everywhere that he went, you know, yeah, but he did have a big academy hype at the time. And I think about us playing Football Manager a few months ago, and all the Norwegian superstars that I was signing from all these different clubs. And I just feel like one of them will work. And in the cases of Martin Ødegaard, when he got signed at the age of such a young age, at 15, wasn't he? 13, 14, whatever he was, that when he went to Real Madrid, you've got Mannesverk, who's just gone to Ajax. I don't know what he's doing now, but you then got Erling Haaland. So these players, these Norwegian superstars, out of them all, one of them might strike gold. And unfortunately, in Dæhli's case, just a lot of hype, but no actual quality in the Premier League.
I think you're right though, Con, in terms of moving too soon. And I think you go from playing for Mulder and then you go straight to, if they were in the Premier League then, Cardiff City, if not the Championship, which you can argue in terms of physicalities and even a harder league to play in.
Yeah.
And you think maybe he should have maybe not gone, he could have ended up at Cardiff City like he did anyway, but maybe there should have been a club in between Mulder and Cardiff City. Maybe in a league where the physicality was a bit more and stuff like that. Maybe where he could really develop as a young lad coming through, really get like more physical and stuff like that.
You haven't got the time to develop, have you? Like,
No,
when you're in the mix of a relegation battle, you've got to fight to get points. You haven't got the time to develop your game. And I'd imagine in Mulder, they have a lot of more possession-based football idea because they're on the ball a lot. They are the dominating team compared to Cardiff, who are not, are they? So maybe if
100%.
he'd have gone to United and developed a little bit more, but I'd imagine he'd be on the wing.
I think the other difficulty as well is that obviously he signed for Cardiff in the January window, so they were already partway through the season. I think had Solskjaer started the season as manager there, or had he been appointed a little while in? Because that again could be a difficulty in that actually Solskjaer's trying to implement a different style at that point from what they had been playing. Yes, I just look now. Solskjaer was announced as the Cardiff manager on the 2nd of January 2014, and he was signed by Cardiff on the 11th of January, 9 days after
Wow,
Solskjaer
so
had
he's
been appointed
literally
manager.
bringing in the boys, isn't he?
Yeah.
He signs another Norwegian bloke as well, which may come up in the podcast in the future. But
Yeah.
so that's Mats Møller, Norwegian player who played for Cardiff, midfielder. So now I'm going to Connor. So Connor, who have you got?
So I got spun in Man City. And again, I think like all of the clubs in this, really, there are a lot of players that could be picked. And so I went through some of the archives and had a look at some of the players that were there. And one name stood out to me because I remembered this name as soon as I saw it. And I remembered it really for all the wrong reasons, because I thought, yeah, I'm fairly certain he was a bit of a cart horse. But I'm a bit worried he's a bit left field, because I don't know how many people are going to remember him. So I've gone for a striker. We love a striker on this podcast.
You've gone for another striker.
I've gone for another striker because this one really is terrible. I've gone for Rolando Bianchi.
Who?
Oh,
Rolando Bianchi, the Italian with luscious dark locks, the long hair, looked like he should have been a serious player. He
Mate,
came
he
to
looks
Man
angry.
City and he absolutely bombed it. So he was born in Italy, and he joined Atlanta's youth academy in '93, and he stayed there almost a decade. He was there till 2002, and he started to develop as a very classic Italian centre forward. He was tall, he was quite physical, he was strong in the air, and so he looked like he should have been the real deal, really.
He looks like it. He looks like the real deal. Like if you were
Yeah.
signing based upon how he looks, you sign him.
Yeah. We spoke a few episodes
Bit
ago,
like
I think, about
Calafiore.
Calafiore, yeah.
Yeah. You sign Calafiore, you think he's the real deal with his long locks, his hair.
He is the real deal, mate. He is the real deal.
It just reminds me of Calafiore. That's all it does.
We spoke a few episodes ago, I think, about the goal movies, and he absolutely looks like he should be one of those top strikers in a goal movie that you're sort of competing to get ahead of. So yeah, he was at Atlanta. They gave him his senior debut. He never scored a senior goal for the club, so really struggled to break through in Serie A with them. And he then moved on to Cagliari, 4 goals in 39 for them. So he got a run of games in the top flight, but didn't really, pull up any trees or anything. And then he went to Regina, and at Regina he scored 19 goals in 46 appearances, so a bit of a breakout spell for him there. I think in his second season there he was the 4th top goal scorer in Serie A that year with the goals that he scored, and he scored all those goals, and that earned him then his big money move to Man City under Sven-Göran Eriksson.
I knew it would be Sven. I knew it would be Sven.
Yeah, it was
This
Sven
series
that
is just
him.
a Sven series, isn't it? That's all we spoke about. We just spoke about Sven buying random players.
Well, in 2007, they spent £8.8 million on him, which at that time, to be fair, was quite good money. And I was sad enough to look through all of the transfers that happened in the summer of 2007, and he was the 10th highest fee that was paid by a Premier League club for a player in that summer window. The highest, I think, being United's 27-oddish million they paid for Anderson. So that was quite a bit of money at the time. So anyway, he signs for Man City. In his first game playing for City away at West Ham, he scores. So he makes a dream start. The goal, ball's fed into Elano. What a player Elano was.
What a player.
Oh, player, mate, player.
Elano picks up the ball on about halfway, drives forward, then takes this huge touch out to the right, fizzes it across the goal, and Bianchi's there to slide in from about 4 yards out to knock it home. And off he runs with the hair flowing, and you're like, oh, City have got themselves a bagsman here. This is a serious player. He goes
Thomas
on then.
Cook on the front as well.
Yeah.
The sponsor, Thomas Cook. Is it the one where he's got the gloves on and he's literally like absolutely screaming his head off? Proper Italian.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, you can tell he's Italian just from looking at him.
Yeah.
So he goes on then up until about January to score 4 goals in 19 appearances. So it gets to January, and he's already by January then criticised English cuisine and alcohol culture and said he can't stand it, and stated that he's never going to become a full Italian international unless he returns to Serie A. So it gets to January, and Sven-Göran Eriksson tells him, look, you're free to go. You're terrible. You're useless. So he goes on loan to Lazio. On his debut with Lazio on the 27th of January, he gets sent off after picking up 2 yellow cards within 5 minutes.
What?
What's he blaming there?
He's probably either too much food before the game or too drunk before the game.
He had a full English, that's the problem. He had a full English on the plane before he went over, and he couldn't digest it properly. Then he got playing for Lazio, and that was it then. He was like, I can't move.
And yeah, in the 6 months he spent at Lazio, he makes 15 appearances and scores 4 goals there. So in total, across the 2007-2008 season for City and Lazio, he made 34 league appearances and scored 8 goals. So not a phenomenal return for the striker that maybe he promised to be. But this is where he gets really interesting for me, is because he then signs for Torino for about £5 million. So City made a loss on him. He spends 5 years at Torino, and he makes 169 league appearances and scores 71 goals. He scores 77 in all comps, and he becomes the club's 11th highest all-time scorer.
Wow.
he actually became the club captain and a fan favourite for a while there as well.
That's not
So
a bad return, is it? To be fair,
That's not a bad return, no.
that's, 1 in 2 and a bit games, isn't it? That's not terrible at all.
No.
So that there was proof there that actually he wasn't a bad player. He was just a really bad fit for the Premier League, and he hadn't really done an awful lot before that spell. But that clearly just worked for him. And then when he left there, he became sort of a little bit of a journeyman. Then he had a couple of years at Bologna where he got 3 in 28. Then he had a loan spell at Atlanta where he didn't score any goals in 21. He went to Mallorca and got 2 in 16. He went to Perugia and got 1 in 7. And then he ended up signing with Pro Vercelli and got 3 goals in 11. So sort of really dropped off after that spell at Torino. So Torino was the only spell where he really, really stood out. But in terms of why he should be in the league of questionable quality. Well, there was a big fee and there was big expectations. 8.8 million in 2007 was pretty serious money. And he ended up becoming that sort of cult figure because he was such a flop, and some of the quotes about him, I mean, were just absolutely phenomenal. There was one that said that they essentially bought a Serie A poacher and dropped him into a league where defenders treat you like a shopping trolley they're trying to return to the bay. And for somebody who was a big lad, I think he's about 6'2", he didn't like
He's a
being
big
bullied
lad.
at all. He did not like being bullied the way that Premier League defenders were bullying him. There was another one that he was a classic Italian number 9. He loves crosses, he loves headers, he loves a slow tactical game. The Premier League in 2007 was a washing machine set to spin cycle with the door open.
These analogies.
He was eaten alive. He was a man who's gone into a 5-a-side game and everyone else has drunk 3 Red Bulls beforehand, and he's gone in with absolutely nothing, and he's just been absolutely battered. So I think Rolando Bianchi is a great shout for the league of questionable quality.
He's a great shout because I didn't realise he was such a club legend at Torino, which is crazy. So, right, so that's all our 3 picks done. So now the interesting debate: who gets into the LQQ?
I'm going to start this off by saying if you two boys do not pick Jimmy Bullard, this LQQ is rigged. That's all I'm saying. You can think about it for as long as you want. I will be judging you if you think about this for any significant length of time. I think because it's Jimmy Bullard and because everyone, it's just Jimmy Bullard. You can't pick the 2 people that you've put forward over Jimmy Bullard. I will listen to cases. I will listen to your ideas as to why they should be in. But for me, I will die on the Jimmy Bullard hill.
Is that because have you actually got anyone in the LQQ?
Yes, I do. Kevin Doyle, I'll have you know, it was
Okay.
my pick, and he's in the LQQ.
Okay. I just wonder whether
So
there's a personal vendetta to get him in.
No, it's not a cry for help, thinking please let me have a player in the LQQ. I'm happy with Kevin Doyle at the minute, but I think in terms of just the vibes and the personality, and I think he'd be captain, wouldn't he? He'd be captain in the LQQ.
Look, I'm not arguing for my own player, but my own player hasn't played Premier League since. He literally played it for what, 6 months and a bit. Matt Dæhli, you didn't even know who he was.
No.
Bianchi, I didn't know who he was. I don't remember him playing for Man City. I don't even remember him being a club legend for Torino. I think both of those 2 are questionable quality. But I understand the want for Jimmy Bullard. But Con, what do you think?
I totally get it. Jimmy Bullard is Jimmy Bullard and will always be Jimmy Bullard. But there's a part of me that thinks when compared to the other 2, he was quite good. And
boys. Oh, I can't listen to you 2 talk anymore. This is ridiculous.
I don't think many people will ever have said that about Jimmy Bullard, but he was quite good.
He was quite good.
This is the thing, though, right? in terms of Premier League midfielders of around that time, Jimmy Bullard was not as good as some of the elite Premier League footballers.
I completely get that. But someone
He
can't just
has
be in just because they make you laugh.
no, but he is. I still think he has. I still think he has questionable quality. Jimmy Bullard never played for England.
I mean, there is a reason for that.
I mean, there is a reason for that, but also we were talking about Kevin Davis on a previous episode with Jack. He made an England appearance. Jimmy Bullard did not.
I mean, Rolando Bianchi never played for the Italian senior squad either.
No, don't do that to me, Con. Don't do that to me. It's like, all right, my argument's done. It should be Jimmy Bullard. I'll let you two decide.
It's not Jimmy Bullard.
Can't believe this. I thought it was the banker. This one never fails.
It's vibes, it's funny, it's banter. I love him. I think to talk about him, brilliant. But to enter the LQQ, I don't think he's got questionable quality.
I think he has got questionable quality. I just don't think his quality is as questionable as the other two we've picked. I think if Jimmy Bullard came up in maybe some of our previous ones, like if you think about the first episode where we had was it Henri Camara, Jason Punchin, and Jermaine Pennant. If Jimmy Bullard's in there, he's probably more questionable quality against those. But I feel like Bianchi and Møller, Dæhli are just so bad.
I think the problem that I've got with not letting the Jimmy Bullard idea leave my head is because people know who Jimmy Bullard was. The two players that you two have put forward, no one has an absolute Scooby-Doo who they are.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
But the thing is, mate, no.
Look, Jimmy
No.
Bullard, you've made it into Adam's league of questionable quality,
It's
but
just
the
me and Jimmy
actual
Bullard, mate.
LQQ, that he's not in it. So, right, get off your high horse now. Bianchi
Scandalous behaviour.
or Møller Dæhli. Who is getting in? Because they are two outrageous calls. So who is going in? Silence speaks volumes.
I told you, I'm dying on my Jimmy Bullard hill. I'm
Well,
letting
he's
you two
not
boys
going
decide
in,
this.
Ad, so it's done.
Listeners, if you're listening, right, petition in the comments under this video on Spotify saying free Jimmy Bullard, put him in the LQQ. Because these boys will not let me.
No, he's not. Right. The only thing questionable about him was how high his shorts were during that video.
Well, and some of the TV stuff he's done.
I would argue a Bianchi, questionable quality in the Premier League, 100%.
Out of the two, then, seems as we are completely just pushing Jimmy Bullard aside. I'd have to go for Bianchi, I think. I think I have to. I think sign for big money to Man City. I think the promise is there from the Italian leagues. You look at him and you go, yeah, it's Calafiori from 15 years ago, and you go, yeah, I think just in terms of the money that was spent on him, he was meant to be better than he actually was. Whereas Dæhli obviously was signed by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in a struggling Cardiff side who were never really gonna, set the world alight. So I think, yes, it has to be Bianchi. I'm sorry.
Connor?
If he says Jimmy Bullard now, I'm going to be fuming.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult because I think they're both so washed up in the Premier League.
Møller Dæhli, did he kick a ball in the Bundesliga after that?
I think he did, didn't he?
I'll be honest, boys. Neither of them have appeared on I'm a Celebrity, so I don't think any of them should get in. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, boys.
Yeah, he's made in total 4 appearances in the Bundesliga.
I mean, Bianchi's made no appearances in the Bundesliga, if that makes a difference.
No, babe. Right, okay, I'm making the final decision. So, having heard everyone's opinion, Bianchi is going into the LQQ. Adam has got his hands on his head.
Talking about Bundesliga appearances, none of them two boys have done as many Bush Tucker trials as Jimmy Bullard has.
Right,
You want to
so
talk about appearances? Shocking.
right, I've had to mute Adam because he just keeps going on. So, Bianchi, Bianchi, you have made it into the LQQ. You join a lot of strikers because that, I think we might as well just call it How Did They Play Strikers podcast. Please join us for the next episode for hopefully Adam can try and get one in. Take care.